YouTube doesn't think you deserve to know when new videos get uploaded. Show them they're not the boss of you by smashing that bell icon, so you can be notified when your favorite content creators are begging for your attention. Previously on Supergirl, everything was horrible, all the characters were idiots, and continuity was thrown into the same flaming dumpster the writers pulled the script out of. It was around this time I came to the conclusion that the show couldn't possibly get worse. Was I right on the money with that assessment, or just hopelessly naive? God help me, it's time to find out. Welcome back to Supergirl. Our episode begins with a narration explaining that Supergirl has lost her powers due to using up all her stored solar energy fighting Red Tornado. If this bland, flat, lifeless exposition sounds familiar, then 1, congratulations on staying awake through it, you're far stronger than I am, and 2, better make some coffee, because it's time for the return of Supergirl's mother, a computer program made to perfectly simulate a Kryptonian being which somehow manages to show less emotion than an actual computer. Just watch.
Shall we play a game?
Chills. But now...
Shall we play a game?
See? Just doesn't have the same zing to it. I thought about suggesting a storyline where the simulation becomes self-aware and turns evil as a way of making it more interesting, but we've already got an evil version of the character on the show, and even her actually being alive can't seem to make her more lifelike. Anyway, Kara's confused about why her powers haven't come back yet, even though her mother just explained that her solar batteries are empty and she spent the last 2 days indoors. You'd think an easy fix would be for her to just go outside and get some sunlight, but this doesn't occur to her because the plot device of Kara being like a normal human is the only thing this episode can think to hang its hat on, and without it, they really don't have anything. Hence why we have to spend this episode with a depowered Kara with a case of the sniffles. And she doesn't even call in sick? Surely Cat Grant would appreciate dedication like that.
Don't exhale on the way out.
And by appreciate, I mean she lets Kara leave through the door instead of the window. You're all heart, Ms. Grant. Kara runs into James on her way home, and the two of them talk about her being Supergirl out on the street with lots of people around them without even lowering their voices, because these dumbasses still don't understand what a secret identity is. Luckily for Kara, she doesn't know what a jinx is either, so she's able to accidentally distract all these innocent bystanders with a conveniently timed natural disaster.
The world can survive without Supergirl for one day.
Back at DEO headquarters, Alex's suspicions about Henshaw's role in what happened to her father are reaching a boiling point. So she's watching him like a hawk while Henshaw has a chat with some alien sporting mental powers that they captured off screen, probably around the same time they were letting Reactron escape off screen.
I am Jen, master of the faceless hunters.
Glamour and glitter, fashion and fame.
Yeah, I heard you the first 10 times.
But the damage caused by the earthquake allows him to escape, which according to Kara's mom is really, really bad.
Jem was one of the most ruthless criminals ever to be banished to the Phantom Zone.
He was outrageous. Truly, truly, truly outrageous.
So Henshaw takes 2 agents with him to round up the wayward alien criminal masquerading as a 1980s cartoon pop star, leaving Alex feeling put out that he's not taking her instead when she has more field experience than both of these guys put together. This, of course, begs the question of how that's possible, since by my last count, Alex has no less than 6 different jobs at the DEO, only one of which is being a field agent, but seeing as how she's apparently so indispensable that if anything ever happened to her, the whole operation would likely fall apart, maybe keeping her out of danger is for the best. Not so for these 2 red shirts, though. They get cut down so quickly it's a wonder the writers even bothered giving them names. But now that the male herd has thinned a little bit, it's time for Alex as the only competent person to take charge. Her plan? To leave the safety of this fortified room and go fight the evil psychic alien without any equipment or safeguards whatsoever to protect her from his mental attack. I'd make a joke about what a terrible plan that is, but it somehow ends up working, so what the hell do I know?
I love this plan! I'm excited to be a part of it!
Well, it mostly works. Another agent gets killed once he'd fulfilled his purpose of making Alex look better by comparison, leaving Alex and Henshaw as the only 2 left to face this horrible threat. Saving the day at this point is gonna call for real teamwork.
You chain yourself to those bars there, now!
Alex!
Or the normally practical and level-headed Alex could choose now to hold a grudge against Henshaw for hiding the truth about her father. because there wasn't a less appropriate time to do that than when she's going to need Henshaw's help to stay alive. Maybe her father's big brain skipped a generation after all. Or maybe it was just Wynn's turn to be the smart one. Back at Catco, Wynn has single-handedly gotten their satellite link up and running. How they even still have electricity after a massive earthquake is what I can't figure out, but this is still a pretty impressive feat.
It was Wynn.
Who?
Well, the work is its own reward. They get their cable back just in time to see Maxwell Lord bad-mouthing Supergirl to anyone who will listen. And since no one is allowed to bad-mouth Cat Grant's meal ticket in the media but Cat Grant, goddammit, she decides to run counter-programming and inspire the people of the city with the power of positivity. Because if there's one thing Cat Grant knows how to do, it's inspire people.
We're all suffering through a major disaster. Did someone just sneeze? But isn't it also human to face our weaknesses and rise above them? Who among you sprayed my office with 1 million microscopic killers? Act like a superhero even if you aren't one. If I get sick, I will underperform. If I underperform, our stock prices will fall. A call for us to heed our better angels. Thousands of people will lose their job. The S&P will take a hit. We need to help each other. And you will personally have triggered the next recession. Let's show the world what we're really made of. Normally, I would fire you and replace you instantly, but we're short-staffed. We must choose to do what we can. Go find someone to do my makeup.
Obama, eat your heart out. So while Kat is inspiring the masses, Kara goes to see Maxwell Lord so she can tell him that he should stop being so mean to Supergirl and try being more positive. Yeah, you tell him, Kara. He's got no business being such a massive jerk. I mean, look at this smug prick. Handing out emergency supplies, administering medical attention to the injured, saying that people should rely on themselves rather than count on an unreliable and absent superhero to save them. Pfft, what an asshole. And Kara's not exactly making a great case for Supergirl, as she fails to help a man with internal injuries because her powers haven't kicked back in yet. So she's feeling pretty sorry for herself and getting scared that her powers might never come back now.
These past few weeks have been the best of my life.
This from the woman who spent the previous episode complaining about how miserable she was that she couldn't have a normal life. So what, that's just not a thing anymore? Or are we only allowed one plot device per episode now?
But a real hero never stops trying.
Carl, please, stop.
Oh, for crying out loud, can one character on this show just make up their damn mind about a single f***ing thing and stick with it? Jesus Christ, we're only 7 episodes into this series, and already I've seen enough about faces from the main cast to give the Bella twins whiplash. So inspired by James's encouragement, and disregarding his earlier discouragement, Kara confronts some looters as Supergirl and talks them down before they shoot anyone. It's a pretty heroic act, actually, which the show instantly ruins by practically bludgeoning us to death so much with just how heroic it is that I instantly start rooting for the guy to just pull the trigger. But much like in real life, it seems I just can't catch a break.
You don't even need powers to be a hero.
And you don't need powers to cheat on your girlfriend either, which James is this close to doing when Wynn walks in to announce that he figured out what the DEO couldn't. That to get her powers back, Kara just needs some adrenaline. That's it. Adrenaline. The DEO couldn't figure that out? Super genius alien genetics expert Alex couldn't figure that out? Look, Lord knows I'm not expecting Emmy-quality writing from the Arrowverse shows at this point, but could you have at least come up with something a little more creative than adrenaline will make Kara super strong again? Unless John Travolta's about to walk in with a magic marker in one hand and a giant syringe in the other, I'm calling this exactly what it is. Lazy. Then a fire breaks out, they have to evacuate the upper floors, and James has to climb up the elevator shaft because reasons. He falls, and him being in danger gives Kara the push she needed to get her mojo back. Funny how that didn't work when this poor bastard was about to die. I guess it just takes a cute boy to get that adrenaline pumping, eh, Kara? Back at the DEO, her trap is set, Alex is armed to the teeth and ready for a final showdown, and Jem is more than happy to oblige. Showtime, Synergy. The ensuing fight is good enough to make me wish it had a much better episode surrounding it. There's no ham-fisted feminism or revoltingly manipulative message about heroism or girl power gender politics for a change, just Alex acting like the badass the show constantly tells us she is, putting up a good fight, but losing anyway because she's just outmatched. It doesn't excuse her stupidity from earlier, but if the show would give us scenes like this more often, I might at least respect these characters more than I do. So it looks like Alex is a goner, but at the last minute, Henshaw swoops in and saves the day. Ah, damn it, Henshaw, why'd you have to go and kill Jem? If the Misfits challenge you guys to a rock-off now, the DEO is gonna be up shit creek. Who are you counting on to save your asses then, huh? The Stingers? 'Cause I don't think they'd do it. And I wouldn't even know how to get a hold of them. Afterward, Henshaw comes clean to Alex. Turns out the real Henshaw is dead, and our Henshaw took his place to clean up the DEO and watch over Alex as payment to her father for saving his life. And then we finally get the big reveal. The huge secret. The super shocking knock-you-on-your-ass surprise that Hank Henshaw is actually an alien. Yeah, the thing they were telegraphing for 6 episodes turns out to be exactly what we thought all along. What a twist? I guess him being the Martian Manhunter is supposed to make it cooler somehow, but after seeing how much this show has butchered other characters from the comics, this fills me with more dread than anything else, so color me skeptical that this'll turn out to be a good thing. But this is definitely a good thing. A man taking Kara to task on something, and not being demonized for it? Holy shit, this is still Supergirl I'm watching, right? Wynn is a little disappointed in Kara for getting cozy with James while he has a girlfriend. Personally, I think that reflects more poorly on James than Kara, but I'm totally with Wynn on this. And an even bigger surprise, while he is criticizing Kara, even though he has a dick, he's not made to look like a dick for it. Yes, believe it or not, this is actually portrayed as if Kara was in the wrong here. Then Supergirl pays Kat a visit to thank her for giving the people of the city hope. I guess she didn't see the same speech I did. She gets ambushed by Aunt Astra, to be continued. For lack of a better term, Human for a Day is easily the most bipolar episode this show has done yet. Plenty of the usual problems are still front and center, continuity is still getting bent over the table without a safe word, and the way people's characterizations keep radically shifting from one end of the spectrum to the other depending on the needs of whatever scene they're in at the time is absolutely unforgivable. In particular, Cat Grant's message of hope to the city felt completely disingenuous because it was being delivered by Cat Grant, a woman not concerned with the city eating itself so much as her self-described meal ticket being spanked by Maxwell Lord in the court of public opinion. But on the other hand, the episode does try to have some sort of through line tying it together, that being that one doesn't need to be super to be a hero. It's not well done by any stretch, but at least it exists. The male characters were actually treated like human beings rather than fodder to push identity politics, which is just rare enough that I think it deserves to be pointed out when it happens, and there was that fight scene with Alex at the end that was actually pretty cool. Moments like that give me a glimpse of what this show could be if it ever pulled its head out of its ass. They never last very long, but with a Greg Berlanti show, I've got to take what I can get. Thankfully, this episode was indeed a step up from last time. Granted, that's a pretty damn low bar. I wouldn't exactly call it good, but by the measly standards Supergirl has set for itself, this was a decent effort. Let me know down below what you thought of this video and what shows you'd like to see me cover in the future. And while you're at it, don't forget to tell the YouTube algorithm to go f*** itself by liking, sharing, subscribing, smashing that bell icon for notifications, and following me on Twitter using the link in the description box, because if you never ever want to be caught unaware when new videos get uploaded, that's the best way to make sure that happens. I talk movies, TV, comics, trailers, and more, so if you like what you see here, stay tuned, and I'll be back real soon with the next one. Until then, over, out.
Your only chance at survival is my daughter, Kara. Humans cannot...
Shut it off.
Hey, check it out. The episode became self-aware before the computer did. Didn't see that one coming.